Alrighty, yo, what is going on, everybody? It's your boy, Mr. GDG94, back with another reaction video. Today, we finna react to 7 black sitcoms that deserve a reboot. Off rip, 7 sitcoms that deserve a reboot. If you had to make a reboot, you would have to either do a prequel to the show, or you would have to do a spin-off of the show. That's the only way you can do this. I don't think a reboot is necessary. The reboot only works if you do it the right way. Like what they doing with Bel Air, you're doing it the right way. Something like Martin, that's kind of tough because you don't want people to touch something like Martin, because you know how bad that can turn out. Like with Fresh Prince, at first we thought it was bad until that first episode came out, and then it was like, okay, I'm hooked from here. I don't care no more. I don't care no more. That first episode was good. If the first episode has to be fire. If the first episode is not fire, you will ruin the legacy of an original series. So if we gonna do this with black sitcoms off rip, I think a different world could definitely use a reboot in today's time and age. I think a different world would definitely be a great reboot. That's the first one I could think of off rip. Damn, I'm trying to think. What else? A show you could reboot outside of a different world? Shit. I mean, you could do Moesha, but would anybody want that though? That's the thing though. You could redo Moesha. There's no problem with it because the show never finished. So because the show never finished, it's actually a good idea. And how bad it ended, it would be good to reboot it and redo all the mistakes and fix all the mistakes that happened in the last time, the last version of that show. Moesha would be one, but I don't think nobody would want that, considering how tarnished it is. I can't think of any more other than those two. But yeah, man, without further ado, man, let's get right into this though.
So just recently, I saw a post by Martin Lawrence, to where it said "Young Martin," and I was like, "What?" So apparently, Martin is working on a new show to revamp the Martin Show, but it's going to be through the prism of a young Martin Payne. I think that is fire. I think that is dope. And it's going to be a drama, allegedly, kind of like how the Fresh Prince of Bel Air was revamped. And I think that's really cool. It really got me to thinking of, well, what other shows deserve a reboot? Well, we're going to talk about that right now. Why? Because I'm black, y'all. First show on my list that I have to talk about is...
No, leave it alone. Leave it alone. Because people will cancel this show in a heartbeat. People will cancel this show in a heartbeat for the outrageous shit that they did on this show. Today's people can't handle this type of comedy. And you would have to get the Wayans involved. If the Wayans are involved, it's not worth going through. I'm just saying. This is already a bad decision.
Train up a jungle, you better snuggle up.
And plus, you got to think about it. We got Wildin' Out right now. So, what would be the purpose of bringing back In Living Color if we got Wildin' Out going on right now? Like, let's just let Wildin' Out be the new Living Color. I think we can. Rebooting a skit show, I don't think is necessary. You know what I'm saying? I would love to see the Chappelle Show come back, but I understand it was a moment in time. We need to let that moment be what it was, just a moment in time. Like, we got Wildin' Out now. I think that's just as good as this show. I would say that's good enough. So yeah.
In Living Color, you can do what you wanna do. In Living Color. In Living Color was a renegade, pioneering, innovative sketch show that was way ahead of its time, spearheaded and led by one of the greatest minds in black comedy and cinema, and Keenen Ivory Wayans, along with his Wayans brothers and sisters, and found a lot of talent in the late 80s, early 90s that will wind up being megastars, from Jamie Foxx to Jim Carrey to the Wayans brothers themselves of Sean and Marlon. Again, a show that was just way ahead of its time. Edgy comedy that you couldn't even do today. It was unapologetic. It went against the grain. It was a renegade, all that good stuff. And comedy, especially black comedy, is something that we're missing today, especially the black sketch show. When you look at Chappelle Show, what it did, Key and Peele, even most recently, the Black Lady Sketch Show, which I believe just ended not too long ago. We're missing this type of vibe and type of content within black TV shows. I think it's something that is needed, something that is still wanted, and I think In Living Color today will be.
So Wildin' Out is not that right now. I'm just saying, Wildin' Out is not that now. I guess I don't know. I guess. But I think Wildin' Out is filling that void right now.
Fire. Speaking of the Wayans brothers, let's talk about Damian Wayans and his hit TV show, My Wife and Kids.
You could reboot this. You can reboot this. Technically, you can reboot this, but here's the problem. Do we really want to go through all of this again? Or do we want to pick up where we left off? Remember, this show got canceled. We left it on a cliffhanger. This show got canceled. So I personally feel like if we do bring this show back, let's just start where we left off at.
Kids is one of my favorite TV shows of all time. It's something I can put on at any time, with Michael Kyle and Jay Kyle trying to raise their crazy, wild and crazy kids together while they're being wild and crazy themselves. I love this show. It definitely deserved to have more seasons. It definitely deserved to end on a proper note, which we will eventually get to how My Wife and Kids should have ended. We will definitely get to that video in the very near future. But yeah, My Wife and Kids, just a feel good time. Damian Wayans, just being Damian Wayans, fooling around, having a good time. And of course, Tisha Campbell, one of the greats when it comes to comedy, when it comes to TV shows, sitcoms, who not only was from Martin, but also was an MVP of My Wife and Kids as well. And the kids, from Claire to Junior to Katie, just everybody played their role so well. Even the side characters, from It's Body to Calvin. Is that right? Like, just this show is just so good. I don't understand how it only lasted 5 seasons. And you can definitely reboot this show today. And it's an easy show to reboot and write, of now Junior being the father that have to deal with his crazy kids, while you have Michael and Jay be the grandparents that are like, see, I told you. This is a show that definitely can be rebooted, if for nothing else.
But you gotta also remember, Jay was pregnant. So what about the other child, the newest edition? We never got that point yet.
Else, just to see Damon Wayans and Tisha Campbell be together once again and just do what they do best, which is give us pure comedy. Now a show that somewhat is in the same vein, that came out around the exact same time, a show that also deserves to be rebooted, is Sometimes in this life, you can feel all by yourself.
You could reboot this show, but once again, would you want this show rebooted? That's the question you gotta ask yourself. Do you want this show rebooted? It's not whether you can reboot it, it's do you want it? I don't think this is a highly desired show like that. Don't get me wrong, it's a classic. It's a classic, but I don't think anybody's clamoring for this to be rebooted anytime soon. Shit, I don't even think nobody wants to even get to the conclusion, because we left this one off on a cliffhanger too, but they didn't, and then they just canceled the show. So do we really want it though? And how do we do it again? How do we reboot this show and do it again? I think I only say that because this show still holds up today. It's not very outdated. It's somewhat outdated, but it's not very outdated. It still is relevant in today's time. So it's like, can you really reboot something that's still relevant? I feel like reboots are only necessary if it's completely outdated. This show still has somewhat of relevance. This was in the 2000s. The show still has relevance to this day. But I digress. When there's nobody around, I'll be there to thick and thin. Why don't you love Can't nobody break this bond. Now we have
one-on-one. Brianna Washington, Flex Washington, Spirit Ornez, Dwayne. Like, this show was one of my favorite shows growing up during the early 2000s, with Flex Washington, a young bachelor that's a player, trying to now raise his now young adolescent kid and trying to instill in her all the morals and values you're supposed to have as you're trying to be an adult. Meanwhile, he's trying to figure out how to be a parent and an adult himself. Just a great dynamic between the two, and a great supporting cast that I just not too long ago saw a video of Kyla Pratt and her daughter together, which, by the way, her daughter stole her face, like her whole entire face. She didn't even, like, she.
Yeah, I hate when y'all be showing my crush, man. Stop showing my crush. I love this woman. Stop showing my fucking crush, bruh. Oh my god, dog. I don't want my crush to be shown, dog. Cause y'all don't understand that. I thought I had a chance. I thought she was gonna wait till I was 18, dog. I can shoot my shot. Like, maybe I'm 18 now. Holla at me. Nah. Got married, had a kid. Damn. Oh well. I ain't got no luck with none of my crushes. None of my crushes I ain't got no luck with, dog. At all. I hate it.
Took everything. Like, oh my God, the fact that Kyla Pratt and her daughter looks literally identical is like, it's just a precious thing to see. And I really think Kyla Pratt and Flex Alexander have talked about this in the past years ago about trying to reboot One-on-One. I think you can still do it today. Going back to what I said about my wife and kids, now you give the perspective and dynamic of Brianna being the parent, having to deal with a child, growing up through adolescence, and trying to make all the right decisions and making mistakes along the way, while Flex, Brianna's dad, is also trying to guide Brianna as a parent, but also allowing Brianna again to make her own choices. Kind of in that vein, you still allow Kyla Pratt to be Kyla Pratt, and you still allow Flex Alexander to be Flex Alexander, and you still have a great supporting cast. Outside of maybe Spirit, I don't think if you watch recent videos of hers, I don't think she has any desire to get back into acting. God bless her and all the success to her. Yeah, but outside of Spirit possibly not being there, I still think you have a great cast that can put on a great show.
But to be fair, Spirit wasn't in the last season of the show, so.
And a great reboot of One-on-One. Now, speaking of dope, someone who I think is one of the dopest people in the world, one of the most talented people in the world, a show that I think you could definitely revamp that I don't think ever really gets talked about, but I think it would be dope to see.
No, leave it alone. This show had its finale. It ended it off. Leave it alone. Let's not touch shows that actually got a conclusion. Jamie Foxx show got a conclusion. It did not get canceled. It did not end on a cliffhanger, and then they was trying to bring it back for another season. But the network was like, "Nah, fuck that. We ain't finna waste our money on that. Let's move on to this right here." No, this show got its conclusion. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. There are certain shows I don't think we should be touching, and this is one of those shows I don't think we should be touching at all. We got to the conclusion of this. Leave it alone. My world still only all I need. That shit still go crazy.
The reboot of the Jamie Foxx show.
Nope, leave it alone.
The Jamie Foxx show, I think you could definitely reboot. Jamie Foxx, who, like I said, is one of the most talented people ever. He can sing, he can dance, he can act. Like, he can do it all. He can play piano. He can literally do it all. I would love to see Jamie Foxx reboot his character of
Pierre, you want to come out here?
Take over the hotel of his aunt and his uncle, the Kings. He still is married to Fancy, probably has a kid. Still, you have Braxton, who maybe becomes a partner. Maybe they buy the hotel together, even though the person that played Braxton, Christopher Duncan, he has a great interview on Comedy Hype that kind of breaks down how that character kind of destroyed his career in a sense, which is very sad. But even in that, I still believe that character, you can revamp that. You can maybe tweak it a little bit. And I would just love to see Jamie and Braxton together, Fancy together, even Aunt Helen and Junior. And I just love to see them together because it was a great cast. Next is switch it up a little bit from comedy.
Oh hell no! Leave this show alone. No, no, this is terrible. No, no. Leave The Wire alone. Got its conclusion. We understand the premise of it. It does not need to be touched ever again. Don't ever touch The Wire again. The Wire is dead, bro. Leave it alone. Okay? Leave The Wire alone. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. What else we got here? New York Undercover? Absolutely not. I don't think anybody would ask for that.
One of the most probably powerful shows within black television.
Most definitely. This is the only show that I feel like deserves a reboot. It needs an updated version. We need an updated version from the 90s. We definitely need an updated version of the show.
You've been told it's a different world. It's a different world. It's a different world. It's a different world than where you come from. Ooh, than where you come from.
It's a different world. Ooh, where you come from. A Different World, a show about black young men and women, young adults, trying to make it and figure out life in college, making all kinds of decisions and choices that will determine their future, making accomplishments, making mistakes. A Different World, Dwayne Wayne, Whitley Gilbert, Ron, Freddie, Kim, Jaleesa. Like, bruh, this show was so great, especially after the revamp in season 2 when Denise Huxtable left the show. Making it, shout out to Debbie Allen, making the show actually black, because the college was at HBCU Hillman, which still to this day people feel is a real college. The Hillman is so iconic that people feel like it's a real college. At HBCU, about black college life, like this was so powerful that it got a lot of people into going to college or looking to have goals and achieve certain things in their life through the prism of the motivation of A Different World. Like A Different World, I think you could definitely reboot today. Another easy story to tell, kind of in the vein of Grownish, but now all your characters who were kids or young adults in the show are now parents. And now all their kids go to Hillman. And now you have all these cast of characters trying to interact with each other. Some like each other, some don't like each other. You can tell that story, and I think it'll be dope, as well as still seeing the old cast chemistry and interact. Like, I just think that would be dope, man. I just think A Different World is a great show that you could definitely reboot. And if nothing else, the cast of characters definitely deserve to be back together again. So those are my black shows that I believe deserve reboots. Let me know how you feel.
Absolutely not, sir. Let's see here. Shows that would deserve a reboot. Like I said, A Different World would be a good one. Moesha would be a good one, but would people want a new Moesha? I think Rock could definitely be renewed. I think Rock could definitely be renewed. Rebooted. It definitely touched on a lot of interesting topics. Another show that I would like to include is South Central. That would be the show with Lorenz Tate. The one that went like 8 or 9 episodes and then got canceled because it was too raunchy and too real. Yeah, that show. Yeah, I feel like those few shows right there would be good enough for a reboot, adaptation, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Like I think those would work tremendously in today's day and age, being updated and brought into the brought into with the newer generation and stuff like that. I think those would definitely be dope shows to reboot. But aside from that, though, leave all black classic shows alone. If they ain't broke, don't fix them. Okay. Now you can get away with the Fresh Prince because they're actually doing a good job.
What are shows
because they're actually doing a good job with that. Good time. You saw what happened with Good Times. We still up in arms about that fucking show. Why would they reboot Good Times and make it one of the most and destroy its entire? That's why we don't need black sitcoms to be touched, because you end up with shit like Good Times. We don't need that. We don't need that. That's the bad part about this. You could end up with a show like Good Times being tarnished by fucking Seth MacFarlane and Steph Curry. But nah, man. Anyways, though, that's just gonna about do it for this one, man. I will see you all in the next video. Tell me what y'all think down in the comment section below. I'll get back to you. Till then, peace out.